Hannah, welcome to Nourishing Grief, where we talk about support the way we talk about food. We'll try new things. We'll have our go-tos. Sometimes we just need something small, and sometimes we need the full 3 courses. So, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited for this conversation.
And me, I really enjoy them. So I guess to get us warmed up and started, we'll go for your comfort meal. So what's your go-to comfort meal, a meal that you always know you can rely on?
I think for me, it's something like a beef stew. Like it sounds so simple, but when our family have a beef stew all around the table together, there's something so comforting. It's like one of those home comforts. And I remember when I was in London, I'd always be thinking about that home comfort when I was stressed. And that's what you need, and a beef stew and a nice like loaf of bread with loads of butter on it. And then we'd all just be there in silence, just taking in the moment. It just feels really special.
I love that. My family, my mum always used to make a beef and tomato casserole, and I think
Yeah.
that would be up there with one of my like go-to comfort meals. I loved it, and it's also just like hearty, isn't it? So it makes you feel like warm inside. And so tell me, what it's a slight tonal change, but tell me, is there a food or a meal that reminds you of your mum? Is it the beef stew, or is there a specific meal maybe you made together that just reminds you of her and the time you spent together?
So I think for me, she taught me how to bake. So anything cake related always reminds me of my mum, but specifically angel cakes. I don't know if you know what they are, but you know when you scoop
Yeah.
the middle of the cake out, jam and then buttercream, and you put the wings on. And
Mm.
we always used to make them, and not only do they make me smile so much, but I always make them around the anniversaries, her birthday and when she passed away. So it's kind of become a tradition that makes me feel so close to her. And also, can you be sad when you're eating cake? I don't know. It always puts
No.
such a smile on my face. And I think, the whole process, even baking them and then eating them, like all of it is just so enjoyable for me. And that really reminds me of her.
I actually used to make angel cakes with my mum as well.
No.
And you've just like unlocked a core memory of putting the wings on the cake.
I
That
used
is
to always
so
cut
lovely.
them
Like,
wrong as well. She'd have to turn them
yeah,
round
so did
every time.
I.
How cute. That's so
Oh,
sweet.
I love that. That's such an adorable one. I mean, my mum probably did most of the baking, so it's so special that she taught you to bake, because that's such a core skill that I must admit that I don't have. And that's something that, like, not only do you have the cakes that make you feel good and they're so pretty and like remind you of that time you spent together, but you have that enduring skill as well that she passed down on to you. So it's a way in which her legacy continues. I think that's stunning. Like, I love that, and I'm grateful for unlocking that
You're
core
welcome.
memory. I can't believe I'd forgotten about them, but as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, love that. Do you have a restaurant, or was there like a type of cuisine, or maybe somewhere like a country you went to where you enjoyed some cuisine together, or somewhere that really reminds you of her? Yeah, tell me about
So
that if you have one, of course.
Yeah, so I think for me, one of our favourite places to go was Hunstanton, the beach, and we'd get fish and chips, and the beach was beautiful. And we actually, again, we did a similar kind of on the anniversary. We drove down, and it was really strange because we went into the fish and chip shop, and her song was playing, and it was like it's a really
Mm,
old song, so it shouldn't have been playing in that shop, if that makes sense. But we were in there and it started
yeah.
playing, and it just felt so special. But I remember so many summers, driving down there, staying down there. It's so beautiful, and it's nothing that's too far away. It's not like we ever went abroad really with her. So I think it's nice that it's only down the road. Like when I'm feeling a little bit down, I always plan a trip there.
When you said that, it reminded me immediately of a beach that we go to remind ourselves of my brother as well. And I think that that's such a special place, especially when it's not that far away from you. It's those kind of it's the places that don't cost a lot of money that you can go to, that kind of provide such a good cushion in terms of support as well, which will take us nicely on to the next part. But I think that like spending time in nature and spending time somewhere where it reminds you of them and makes you feel really close to them is such kind of like an unsung mechanism when you're
Definitely.
grieving. And I mean, fish and chips is probably up there with one of my favorite meals.
I know, I've not had it in a long time, but I think I might have to.
Oh,
I've just reminded myself of how nice it was.
but what I mean to say is, we're so playful with food and we experiment and we have favorites, and sometimes we just need some toast, and sometimes we want the full three courses. But with support, we don't always give ourselves the same permission. So, if you had a support menu, what would be on it? And we'll start with the like starter, main, dessert, and side.
So I think for my starter, I think when I have a starter in a restaurant, it's kind of preparing you for the main event. So when it
Mm,
comes to my grief, it's about regulating my nervous system and actually being ready and in a position to get through what I need to get through rather than just surviving. Because I think a lot of people try to heal, but they're not actually emotionally ready to do so. So I think my starter is, like you said, like a walk in nature or something that really settles you, whether that's a comfort spot with someone that you remember or baking cakes and just being in that environment that you feel comfortable in. Because once your body's comfortable, you can actually then process a lot more than if you're on high alert and you've had a really stressful day, like you're not going to be making much progress. So that's how I would start my meal.
I love that. I think that there's so much to be said, especially in kind of terms of, for me, I would say my main was therapy. But I think that you need to make sure that you're in a space where you're able to get the most out of that experience and the most out of that time. So making sure that your nervous system is fully prepared and you are kind of in a space mentally that is ready and kind of primed to experience those emotions and to get really deep and dig into the grief. Because I suppose if we don't dig in deep to the grief, then we're never really going to kind of process the entirety of it, because it does run so deep. And then if we move on to your main, so is there something where kind of you've really found has worked 100%, well, not 100% because nothing ever is, but is there a type of support that you have found that you can rely on every time? It's where you do your most substantial kind of processing. Tell me about
So
that.
I think for me, the biggest point in my kind of journey is that support network and the talking and actually creating that
Mm,
space that is so vast to have those conversations. And my mains always come with sides and lots of them. There's always a lot of components. And I think that, you know, the support network that I've created as well has so many different elements to it, because every single day is different. You know, there's so many levels to grief. It's so complex. One day you can feel relief, one day you can feel angry, one day you can feel sad. So you can't just come with the same response every time, because you can't get through things. You know, you're not going to want to go on a walk if you're really upset, which I completely understand. I know there is benefits of it, but when you're feeling happy and you're actually celebrating, that's the time to go on walks and socialize. And it's just learning what works for what feelings, and talking about how you're feeling and naming those feelings is a really great step that I found, because when you actually say it, it's literally off your chest and you're not bottling it up. You're not
mm,
trying to call it something else. You're not blaming work being stressful. Like, you are being signaled by your body by these feelings. That's exactly what they are, and they're so normal. And again, back to that permission conversation, you give yourself permission to feel. Like, grief is horrific, it really really is, and you can never ever replace someone that's gone, but you can control how you deal with that situation. And I think talking and having the support network, knowing where you can turn to, is such a huge part of moving forward, because it's okay to ask for help, it's okay to need a hand, it's okay to not be able to do a journey on your own. And I think for me, actually admitting that I needed help was really difficult, because I've always been so independent. You know, I took over a lot of care from my brother.
Mm.
I'm very much a people pleaser at work. I'd just be doing everything to make sure that I was top of my game, because I wasn't in other areas. I couldn't control her drinking. I couldn't control all of that. So I saw that really come to fruition in my working life, and the same in relationships. But I think because I've been so curious in trying to understand how that's kind of manifested itself, I guess, into my life, I've learned so much in the process. And that's the most beautiful thing, because then you start having conversations like these, and we both know what grief feels like. It's very different for each person, but a lot of our stories resonate. And even, you know, reminding you of the angel cakes, like, it's something so special that's such a core memory of our childhood. But life and everything gets so busy, and grief becomes this thing that kind of defines people, and you kind of forget that actually there is really great snippets of our life that have made us who we are. And I think it's really important to remember those.
I love that, and thank you for sharing that. That's it. Yeah, beautiful. I love it, and I'm so glad that you have your support network. It's really really lovely to hear, because I think that sometimes, especially with suicide bereavement, you hear quite often about how support systems don't always work out in the way that people want them to, or you know, it's a quite a lonely grief. So it's so heartwarming to be able to share that, you know, we do have strong support networks, and we do have people who can kind of pick us up and dust us off when we need a bit of a helping hand, but also give us the space to be our own person and figure it out along the way ourselves and independently. But yeah,
Definitely.
thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned that you always have loads of sides with your main.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll switch around dessert and the sides. Are there any in particular, anything that you like you'll always go to, or are they kind of more like the people in your life?
So I think for me, it's the practical tools that we talk about. So it's things like box breathing when life is feeling very stressful, because I know it sounds silly to just take a step back, but sometimes that's the best thing you can do, because you're so engrossed in a moment and a situation, and it all feels so overwhelming, because it's kind of a compounding of everything that's going on. But actually, if you step back, it's like one thing that's happening, and it's fine and it's small, and you can deal with it a lot better. Another great side is listening and learning. So podcasts, books, anything that you can learn from. Like I said earlier, I'm so curious to understand why we feel the way we do, how we hold grief, where it is, how to get rid of it, how to move it. And through that, I've then learned things like breath work and like specific stresses to relieve a lot of the stress in your body. I don't know if you've read the book The Body Keeps the Score. It is so interesting, and
Mm,
it just explains how your body holds emotions. Because I had a lot of chronic problems, like I had chronic stomach issues for years, and actually what it was caused by was stress and not dealing with the grief that
mm,
held on for so long. Like, we hold a lot of grief in our stomachs, and I think
yeah.
just that, and then going into that, you know, the normal parasympathetic state that we're meant to be in, not being chased by a lion constantly in that survival mode, also
Mm.
is so linked to our gut health. And, you know, the nutritionist that I speak to and that we're partnered with, you know, I learn so much. Every single day I learn something new. And I think that that's so exciting, because then I can share it with everyone that's kind of following. And it's stuff, again, that we weren't taught in school.
I could literally, you've got a new podcast listener, because I could literally listen to you talk for the whole time. I was like, wow, yeah. No, so, I mean, a couple of things within what you said. So the breath work and kind of mindfulness and things like that, that's something that I really have started to lean into. Um, I feel like we have had a very full meal up until this point, and I'm loving it.
So
I'm
full.
feeling very satisfied, so full. But I feel like we have room for just a little dessert, or even a big dessert, depends how you're
Always.
feeling. But I could go for either.
Always. There's always
So
room for
yeah,
dessert.
I love it. Tell me, what is your dessert?
So I think for me, dessert is always that sweet feeling. It's that warm feeling, like we were saying about the beef stew, and being around people that are really energizing to me. Like my family is so important to me. And I think not only because we've lost, but just because of how important that support network is, spending time with them and that warm feeling that you get, when you just smile to yourself and like you're like, this is it, like nothing else matters. And I think it's a great way to end a meal in terms of, that sweet feeling. It leaves it on a high note and it takes everything that we've had. We've had our starters, we've prepared, we've healed with all of our tools. But the most important thing is to make sure you are in that environment where you can just love yourself. You can just be happy. And like we're trying to say, like you can move forward after you lose someone, as horrendous as it is. And it is difficult. Grief doesn't go away. You just learn to kind of live with it and you grow around it. And it's so normal to feel all of these feelings, and having that sweet spot of the things that energize you, that make you feel good, is so important. I would never ever leave dessert.
I love that. And I think, I mean, you said it yourself, there's no better feeling than having your family around you and being able to spend time with those that you truly love, like unconditionally as well. I love being around my tribe. That's what me and my mum call our family. It's like, it's our people that we're biologically connected to, that we are like, soul bound to. I love it. I love being around everyone. And I don't know about you, I feel like a bigger drive since losing Joe to be around like the whole lot of them, like every
Yeah.
single one I want in my space and my orbit, because one, I know how much there is at stake, but also because I just think like what an amazing thing that we were blessed to have family and blessed to have these people around us who, have our backs and make us feel safe. So yeah, I love that. Um, Thank you so much, Hannah. I've really enjoyed this chat, and thank you for creating Soulful and doing this work, because I know that it is so difficult to kind of find the good in the darkness that is when you lose someone. So thank you, and thank you for chatting to me today. I am so full to the brim. I feel so supported from that meal. Are there any final thoughts, anything you'd like to add, just to round us off?
I think just from what you said at the end, actually, it's one of my favorite quotes, and it's, you can always remember how to find light in the darkest of times if only you remember to turn on the light. And I think that's exactly what we've been talking about.
I love that. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Hannah. If today's menu resonated with you, maybe try adding one small starter to your own.